Oh, they're dropping is what they're doing. They're dropping like flood. They're cashing out, man. A lot of rich people, Stamford, Connecticut. Good for them. No player hating. Good for them. Look at this report. What's up, everybody? Oh, there we go. How you doing? Now, here's the deal. I ain't got a ton of time. This is a live, amped up podcast. As you guys know, I put up a bonus amplification earlier. Becky Lynch got the NXT Women's Championship over Tiffany Stratton. What a match. What a call at the finish. The whole wrestling world up in arms. How can this happen? Why, WWE, why? Tiffany Stratton drops her championship. You guys will get my amplified thoughts on that. I put that up a few hours ago. I thought I was going to have enough time to film a good amped up podcast for you guys for later this evening. There's no way. So we're going to do this live. So actually, this works out for all of us. First and foremost, let me take off your guys' playback. Let me put on my playback, if you don't mind. What up, everybody? Kings, Mikal, Sir Charles, Rachel Rocca, JR9. Hey, JR9. Brother, looks like you were right, man. This could be going to No Mercy. In which case, we are playing hot potato with Tiffany Stratton's championship. All right, check. BC sounds pretty good on my playback. Hopefully you guys are good with BC's playback. And for one last test, just to make sure, she enters mouse, gals. Okay, that sounded pretty good. Or awful, depending on which. But as long as you heard that, that's all that matters. Guys, they're dropping like flies in Stamford, Connecticut. The deal is official. It's officially done. I know you're thinking, well, yesterday, technically, BC. No. The I's still needed to be dotted. The T's still needed to be crossed. I was waiting to say officially. It is officially closed now. They are trading as of right now. They lost a couple of points on the New York Stock Exchange. They're trading at, I believe, 100 right now. But Vincent Kennedy McMahon, when we woke up this morning, man, Vincent Kennedy is no longer the majority owner of WWE. And you may say all you want, basically it doesn't change much. He's still executive chairman. He still has so much power. What this means, snap of a finger, if the right turn of events happen, Vince McMahon's out. And anybody else that Endeavor sees fit. Let me put this in terms that we can all understand, all right? Endeavor now owns 51% of WWE. Do you know how much Vince McMahon owns? Because I really want everybody to understand, because some people think he just doesn't own majority, but he owns a shit ton, BC. Hold up. Vince McMahon owns 16% of WWE. 16. Endeavor has 51. Vince is nowhere close. WWE has 5 chair members on that board. Endeavor 6. They will outvote you every single time. They will topple you, stomp on you. Welcome to business. Vince McMahon will tell you he is ruthless in business. Ari will tell you, hold my coffee. You ain't seen nothing yet. Vince McMahon no longer has that type of power. I don't know what to think about it. I'm still trying to comprehend this. I've never known a life without Vince McMahon as the head of WWE. That's all I've ever known. So we're going to have to see how this all dishes out. Vince McMahon is now just going to be brokering some deals, and him and Paul Levesque will continue to make Monday Night Raw and SmackDown absolutely not watchable. We'll watch it. We'll struggle through it. We'll tell them what is absolutely horrible, so hoping they will fix it. They will not listen. We'll repeat the vicious cycle. And we'll talk about Raw's numbers, by the way. Don't even give me Monday Night Football. I know it was a big game. I know it was Raw. I know all of that. Trust me. But BC was telling you this number was coming for a very long time. This is a bigger problem than football. I told you that last season, and guess what? I was right. We'll talk about Raw and SmackDown taking a nosedive in the ratings. That's coming up. JoJo with a heartfelt message over to Bray Wyatt, Windham Rotunda. That was deep. We'll talk about that. We'll also discuss Asuka defending Nia Jax, fan criticism, right? Fans are just concerned with the wrestlers that they enjoy. That's all. Fans have every right to say, hey, this is a trend, not an accident. This woman needs to be trained better. All of these accidents are coincidentally happening with the same person. Asuka just went hard on fans, and you guys know I love Asuka. I really do. Hold the fuck up, dude. Relax. The fans have justified criticism. Now, if they're being very mean and just cruel, okay, right? There's no need for that. But if they're just voicing out some justified criticism, Nia Jax, I don't see how you can go against the fans like that. That's like going against fans that said this new world championship that Sethington is carrying. That's like saying that it's not a secondary championship. It's not a participation trophy. This is a real workhorse championship, and any fan that says differently is not a fan at all. They're so negative. They're harsh. They don't want to see WWE succeed. No. They just know that the Roman Reigns championship thing should have ended at Mania, and now the dude's on his second multi-month vacation. He's about to be put on a milk carton while they have to create a whole new world championship. And you know what the coolest thing was? People like AJ Styles, who was in the finals of that tournament. AJ Styles said, I can't argue with the fans. They're right. How can you not look at this as a secondary championship? A participation trophy. AJ Styles earned so much more of my respect. He already had so much. He gained even more because he said, you know what? The fans are voicing their frustrations and their justified criticism, and they're not wrong. AJ Styles was in the match, dude. Come on, bro. AJ was in that match to get the title, and he said the fans were right. Fans that are vocal and just want better are not always just trashing the product just because they want to hear themselves talk. They're probably trying to make it better. They probably hear something really cool, like Kairi Sane is coming back. And then who beats her to the punch? The same woman who injured her twice. Nia Jax. Nobody's saying she did it on purpose. And that's the scarier part. At least there'd be a reason, right? They had a fight backstage and she took it to the ring. That's not professional, but at least we have a reason, right? It's like a pitcher for the Red Sox constantly clocking one of our New York Yankee batters every time Giancarlo Stanton or Aaron Judge gets to the plate. There's Papelbon. You guys remember Papelbon from back in the fucking day? He's constantly hitting our batters. Well, every single time you're hitting our batter, is there a reason, or do you just suck at pitching? And I don't know how the Boston Red Sox employed you. How did they give you a contract? No, you want to know that there's a reason. Papelbon just doesn't like you. So he's decking you in the hip every time you're at bat. That's the case here. People are just saying, hold up, something's not clicking here. Something's not right. Asuka went deep on fans. We're going to go over it, guys. I'll tell you exactly what Asuka said, and we'll go over if this is needed or not. Why is Asuka bringing on that extra smoke? It ain't needed. But we'll talk about that as well. First and foremost, the big story today, and I'm only going to be with you guys for about an hour-ish. That's all the time that I have. And that's the reason we have to do this live. It's a pop-up live stream on 23 minutes of notice. So most of you guys are going to catch this after the fact. I totally get it. Most of you guys are not even going to get notified that I was live because, again, another test that I did proves that most people are not being notified. So that means most are going to catch this afterwards. Guys, I only gave 23 minutes of notice. I didn't know I was going to do a live today. Earlier, I put up a pop-up bonus amplified upload on Tiffany Stratton and Becky Lynch's match from last night, title changing hands, and now this is the way we got to do this. So that's Sir Charles. I know, man. I just got a bunch of texts from people that are saying they didn't get notified. So I've been running a test with a lot of my buddies and stuff and making sure that it's not just BC. No, that's the tube that just doesn't want to push the channel. But that's okay, man. Enough people. That's why I always say make sure you're subscribed and notified, because that's the only way you're going to know that we are live. Because this platform, you can't always think that it's going to pull through for you. But at least if you do have all the things pressed, you got a 50-50 chance at best, man. But some people get the notify, and most people don't. And I mean most. I did my own little Nielsen ratings, guys. Most people do not get notified. It's kind of, it's just how it is, you know? Exactly. Yep, a lot of you guys tell me you did not get notified. And that's what I mean. And everybody that I'm doing this little test with, they told me no notification. So it's what it is, man. We don't bitch and complain about it, but I want you guys to know the deal, especially those that catch this afterwards. And you say, BC, I was never notified. Well, trust me, we don't have an option to limit who gets notified. You either get it or you don't. And you guys are still telling me that most of you guys got no notification. Jilly, I understand, man. I got you. I know. Most of you guys are telling me no notification in the chat. Nothing I can do with it, man. It's just, it's another day at the office, I guess. But, I love it. I love it. I love being the underdog, man. The little ECW channel. I love that shit, man. Let the big boys play over there where they are, and I'll be the biggest one biting at the fucking chops. That's what I say. Guys, they're dropping like flies, man, over in WWE Stamford, Connecticut. There is another chief financial officer that has just left the company, Nick Khan's Memo. Just recently says, and I quote, after over 13 years on our board of directors and almost 2 years after joining WWE full-time as our CFO, chief financial officer, and serving as president CFO, Frank Riddick will be leaving WWE post-TKO close at the end of this month. Frank is a highly respected colleague, and it has been a pleasure to work alongside him. We are grateful for his counsel, support, and dedicated years of service, and wish him only continued success moving forward. Nick Khan. So, that is, over 100 on the ups already. Good call, man. All right. Thank you guys, man. I just started this thing, man. You guys rock, bro. Come on, dude. Over 100 already on those ups. You guys rock. I appreciate that. So Frank Riddick, for you guys that don't know, that this is the chief financial officer. I mean, if you were to choose Vince McMahon's 4 people to circle him, right? The 4 to 5 people in Vince's circle, Frank Riddick, just like George Barrios was. George Barrios was once the chief financial officer. He left with Michelle Wilson. They cashed out, and they formed their own little entity. And then they came back to WWE to join WWE's board, Wilson and Barrios. But that is a main position. Barrios has so much say when he was CFO, and Frank Riddick had so much. I would put Frank Riddick right underneath Nick Khan and above Paul Levesque McMahon. That's how big Frank Riddick was. Now, maybe Frank Riddick maybe he felt slighted because he didn't get a seat at the board for the new TKO Holdings. The new board does not have Frank Riddick listed. And just like Paul Levesque McMahon, who never should have been on it anyway, Paul Levesque McMahon is just a wrestler who married the boss's daughter, and I don't even know how he got on WWE's board other than he married the boss's daughter. Let's be honest, that's not shade. But I don't know what Paul Levesque McMahon was ever doing on that board. I still to this day don't know why Paul Levesque was on the board of directors. Like he's a real ruthless businessman. But that he was on WWE's because that's what family will get you, man. A little thing. What is that called? Nepotism? Or just being in the family. You know, you don't even want to use funky little words. You just want to use it's that family rub. And you can't even shade people. If you are married into a prominent family member and they can get you some advantage, I'm not even going to play or hate, bro. Get your shit. But don't cry when you get bought out and then you don't have a seat at the table anymore. And by the way, don't worry about Paul Levesque. You guys see the thumbnail? That is a current photo from the actual conference yesterday. That's Vince McMahon with his fluffy new mustache. And that is a smiling Paul Levesque McMahon. A smiling McMahon. Do you know why? Because Paul Levesque McMahon cashed out on an extra $5 million when that deal became official yesterday, on top of incentives. This dude's going to end up with well over $10 million just because his father-in-law cashed the fuck out. That's the truth. So anybody feeling bad for him? That's a current picture. Paul Levesque is having the time of his life. Paul Levesque, there's no wonder why recently he said, you should never want Vince McMahon to go. Paul Levesque said, why would you not want this guy around? Not only is he a wealth of knowledge, but man, is he the best businessman you're going to come across. Well, now we know why. The more Vince McMahon stays around, the more Paul Levesque gets richer. So that's a recent photo, guys. They're getting millions of dollars. Frank Riddick just got $5 million. Maybe that's why. Maybe he didn't feel slighted about the board. Maybe he's like, hey, I just became fucking, and he's going to get incentives, $5 to $10 million when it's all said and done. Maybe he's like, dude, I got $10 million. I'm fucking out of here, bro. I ain't got to show up to the office for years. I'm going on a nonstop 4-year cruise. Did we circle the world? Let's go again. 10 million. Could you imagine getting $10 million in one day? That's like scratching a ticket and you won $1 million, but you did it 10 days in a row. You won $1 million scratch ticket. I can't even. You can't. Hey, Savage, I appreciate the, what is that, 7-month membership. Long time no see, BC. Savage, good to see you up in here. Much respect, brother. I appreciate the membership, Savage. So a lot of these guys are getting upwards of $10 million, guys. So a lot of people are going to drop like flies, or they're going to kind of fall to the wayside. I think Frank Riddick, even though he was the chief financial officer, this is one of the most prominent spots in WWE. I think you're going to start to see other people fall as well, but maybe not because they're fearful of the future in the company, maybe because they're just cashing out like Vince. Guys, a lot of people, I don't think you understand the magnitude of this. This was a $9.3 billion deal, just over 9.3 when it's all said and done. But guys, I don't think you understand how many people got rich yesterday, and they were already rich, let's be honest. But they just cashed in like you would not believe. A lot of people got millions and millions of dollars yesterday. There was a lot of smiles. A lot of people got a lot of money. And that's why Paul Levesque is in that thumbnail photo with Vince yesterday, just smiling like, wow, we just got a lot more rich, didn't we? And father-in-law is looking down at him. You're damn right. You're damn right, doofus son-in-law. You stick with me, you go to the top. You don't listen to me, you're never heard from again. A lot of people got rich, and Frank Riddick is one of them. And then the next day, he says, I'm out, peace. Again, he might be pissed that he didn't get the board, but WWE only has 5 spots. 2 of them are big-time actual managerial position-wise, like Vince and Nicholas Khan, for instance. And then you have the subpar ones, right? Just like Endeavor. They'll have their managerial ones, the top, and then they'll have their picks. And by the way, UFC's Dana White, who runs UFC, let's be honest, Ari lets him, I think him and Vince are going to butt heads a little bit more, but Dana has the right model, but only after Endeavor's Ari absolutely ravaged through when the deal was done, and they put the flywheel in effect, and they made all those cuts, and they got $70 million from extra expenses. That was not Dana White, that was Ari. But the point is, Dana White doesn't have a seat at that table either, guys. Dana White is not a board member. A lot of people are mixing that up, and they're saying, well, Paul should be if Dana's going to be. Dana White is not. Dana White does not have a seat at the board of director table. I promise you he does not. So they don't want that type of thing. They want ruthless businessmen. Dana is much more on the creative business side. That's awesome. That's good. Go over there and run that. And then the big boys at the table have to run the actual business. Same thing with Paul Levesque. Go over there and try to be creative. Try to muster up what you did in NXT. Even though no matter what you do, they're going to blame Vince anyway. Even when Meltzer himself said the last couple of months was just Triple H and the show still sucked. But whatever. You go over there and try to be creative. We, the big boys, we're going to go and we're going to try to get the big deals. We're going to try to make the business boom. We're going to try to make the most money we can. They don't want you at the table if you just bring creative business. They don't want that. They'll override you when they are start to hear things creatively that need to be done, right? If somebody thinks in the board, for instance, oh, what about CM Punk? I'm hearing this could be a big thing. A lot of energy going on about CM Punk. What if we brought him in? Well, what is Paul Levesque doing over there? Why is he not? Why is CM Punk not signed? Well, Paul Levesque doesn't like CM Punk, and CM Punk has a lot of drama, and a lot of people just don't like him. But isn't there buzz? I mean, can this help us out? I mean, what would a contract cost? And then you talk to Paul Levesque. Why isn't this getting done? Right? These are the type of decisions that get started with people like this at the top. These are the decisions. It's funny. People think, no, they have nothing to do creatively, BC. Bullshit. They have and you're going to find out so quickly how many times Ari is going to step on the toes of Vince and vice versa, because Vince is going to battle back. But at 51% of Vince's measly 16% ownership, Ari is going to stomp Vincent Kennedy like a cockroach. It's a huge day. It's huge. You know, I'm not going to undermine it, and that's why it's a big deal right now, because you're starting to see the chief financial officer. He's one of the top 5 guys in WWE. He just said, peace, I'm out. He cashed out. Who's left is Barrios and Wilson, who did not get board seats either. Are they next? They were on the board, but they were doing a lot of work with WWE. Are they just going to say peace? This isn't even... I bet you. We're probably going to find out in the next 48 hours. Wilson and Barrios totally wiped their hands. They cashed the fuck out yet again. This would be twice. And by the way, that's by design. Barrios and Wilson was Vince McMahon's right-hand man and woman for a long time. And isn't it funny how right when they were starting to take calls and starting to look out to sell, Wilson and Barrios came back onto the board. So when you get bought out, guess who's getting millions of dollars in incentive? Barrios and Wilson. Vince McMahon looked out for them. You can call it shady business because it is, but it's all 1,000,000,000% legal. It's legal. It's shady, but it's ruthless. And that's always been what Vince is. So isn't it funny how that happened? Isn't it funny how Nick Khan came on board right when Vince was thinking about selling a few years ago? And isn't it funny how Nick Khan already had so many ties with Endeavor, with Disney, and with so many other of these entities? Do you know who was one of The Rock's best friends, knew him since he was a kid? Yeah, Nick Khan. I think Dwayne, The Rock Johnson, and Vince McMahon have a relationship that none of us even can begin to describe the level of importance financially. There's something going on with Vince McMahon and The Rock Dwayne Johnson. I'm telling you guys right now, something is up. Dwayne Johnson put Nick Khan on the phone with Vincent Kennedy and said, that's your guy. And don't think it's a coincidence that when Vince McMahon was in a jam and he had to sell out on XFL. Remember, that was another, for the second time, it was a colossal failure. Who was there to bail Vince out and do a quick buyout on it? It was The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. And Vince never said a peep. Now, you would think if it was anybody else, the last owner would say something, right? Everything was underneath the rug. Something's going on with The Rock, Nick Khan, and Vince McMahon. This was all a coup, and when it was all said and done, they cashed out on nearly $10 billion. Good for them. Again, it's all legal. It's just all shady because it was all in a workaround. Perhaps we'll never get the details on it. Very interesting, though, man. Vince McMahon and The Rock are in some crazy business together. And I think it goes deeper than any one of us can even imagine. It's just very business savvy people like Vince looking at any way that they can skirt around any issue. Even with the troubles that Vince saw coming, he said, you know what? I can get around these issues and I can still cash out. And he was so stubborn and egotistical and ruthless that he said, not only can I cash out in the middle of a crisis, but I can still maintain power in WWE. And this son of a bitch did. He's still the executive chairman. But again, the difference is he's got 16% compared to Ari and Endeavor's 51. When I say Vince McMahon no longer has majority ownership, I mean he is a cockroach to the big dog now, Endeavor. You know, a lot of people that didn't want to believe this, they were like, well, maybe Vince has 50, right? Or 49, right? If Endeavor has 51, then BC, that means Vince has 49. It's still close, BC. That's not how this works. You just don't have two people that have control of WWE. You have what's called a majority share, and then you have all the dividends underneath. Vince just now owns a piece of the pie, and I mean just a piece. So, interesting to say, man. It's one of those things where head of creative is Paul Levesque McMahon, not Vince McMahon. All we know on Vince is that he will have control of creative when he needs to be in the weeds, right? Isn't that what they said? Isn't that what Paul Levesque said? Paul Levesque said, why would you not? He said, well, I don't know why fans think they know everything. Wouldn't you want to go to somebody like Vince McMahon? He's a wealth of knowledge. Why would you ever want that to go away? That was almost verbatim. Paul Levesque McMahon, almost verbatim, is telling you, why would you not? If Vince ever wants to intervene, why would you not want that wealth of knowledge? That's the head of creative telling you, he goes, what was it, JR9, didn't he say verbatim, I go to him. I will go to Vince if I ever have a dilemma. If I'm ever in a conundrum, I go to Vince. Paul Levesque says this. I love when people just spin the narrative. Vince McMahon ripped the scripts up and he tied Triple H in a closet. Triple H was stomped on. He's being abused by his father-in-law. Triple H is he's a victim. Triple H is a victim. As the guy smiles with the dude, he just cashed in on $10 million because of Vince McMahon. He got to run his own promotion, NXT, on the dime of Vince McMahon and the mind of Dusty Rhodes. I'm not going to go over this again. We're not going to play this, are we, guys? I hope we're not going to play this game where now that Vince is not the majority owner, every single week we're going to hear Vince ripped up scripts. Vince ripped up Triple H's script. Johnny Gargano was going to have a 45-minute match with Ali. I hope we're not going to do this again, man. I hope we're not going to do this. When Paul Levesque is telling you he's going to Vince. You even got little Meltzy. I've said this 100 times. You know it's bad when Meltzer is sticking up for Vince. Meltzer cannot stand Vince. And he said that if Vince ripped up the script this week, it was for improvements. That's how bad the original script was with H. That's telling you something. And by the way, Meltzy also said the last couple months why Vince was away with the back surgery and trying to finalize this deal with Endeavor, he said Paul Levesque was running the entire shit. Okay, well, the show sucked the last 2 months. BC's dropping facts. We don't like that. Beasley, you're going against the narrative. Vince McMahon is absolutely trashing what Triple H is trying to do, man. He's trying to make it better, man. You know, here's what I propose. All the McMahons need to be out of creative. Every single one of them. A Stephanie, a Paul Levesque McMahon, a Vincent Kennedy McMahon, even my boy Shane McMahon. It just doesn't work. Sorry. And who just said Shane McMahon is like one of the boys backstage? Did anybody see that article? Somebody on the current roster, I think. He said, I loved working with Shane because he was just one of the boys. So I understand that, but nobody named McMahon should be anywhere near creative. Sorry, not sorry. I understand what H did in Black and Gold. That's done, guys. There is no more Black and Gold. Now Triple H is older. He's got his little bifocals on. He can barely read whose names are on the card. He tells you he can't even complete a whole Raw, and you want him to do 2 more hours of SmackDown. You're going to put Triple H back in a hospital bed. Just let this guy be in peace with his fucking $35 million that he's made over the past fucking however many years. Oh, Luigi. I tell you, man. You guys are the best, man. We have a lot of fun with this, but it is true, man. Yeah, Vince McMahon no longer has the majority ownership. So now every single show you see going forward, Endeavor is now running this company. Endeavor's running it. So Vince McMahon's going to be hard at work trying to get these deals with the networks. You guys hear about that? Now Nick Khan is doing a double doso. He's fucking doubling back, and he's like, well, hold on now. Now, we have a good relationship with NBC Universal. Well, remember last month when he said he was the deal with the NBC Universal with Peacock, it's undervalued. Well, now he's saying, well, hold up. We have a good relationship. Do you know why he's saying that? Because Fox and NBC Universal, Comcast, they don't want to meet Nick Khan's new price. They see the ratings going backwards. And to their credit, I got to give a massive salute to Fox and Comcast. You know what they're doing? They're saying, no, your ratings are going backwards. Business is booming for you. You're making a lot of money from people like us giving you billion-dollar TV rights. Good for you. We're no longer going to be the suckers. We're no longer going to pay you all this money when the ratings are going backwards. And what happens when there's another recession in the world, right? What happens then when everybody that wants to go to WWE events can't? So now you lost your TV audience, and now the people that you had left that were willing to pay money to go there live, now they don't even show up. What are you going to do? Fox, Comcast, NBC Universal, they're all saying no to Nick Khan, maybe Tony Khan, who the fuck knows? But to Nick Khan, they're saying no because they know Nick Khan is asking for an absolute ridiculous amount and the ratings are going backwards. So when you guys, if there's anybody that says ratings don't matter, right the fuck about now it matters. It always did matter for a plethora of reasons. But in business, this is how you're going to attract a much larger number. So now all of a sudden, Nick Khan is saying, wait, we have a good deal. It's not undervalued. Oh, how quick we change our tone when we know that we can't strike a deal because they're going to cut you loose. And this is the same entity, by the way. NBC Universal is owned by Comcast. Do you guys realize that's USA Network? So that's also NXT. NXT is on a separate deal, by the way. And the deal with NBC Universal for Peacock, all that ends end of next year. So those negotiations could have started months ago exclusively. Nobody decided to talk with one another. Nick and WWE did not talk with Comcast because they felt undervalued. Now all of a sudden, Nick wants to talk with them, but Comcast says no. And then the Fox deal is next year as well, but that's two separate entities. Now, UFC is 2025 with ESPN, so that's why Ari has to be careful. You can't just take WWE off of NBCU and wait another year for ESPN's deal with UFC to end, because you have to put them together in a package, right? That's where Ari knows is going to be the most money. This is where this is an interesting strategic play at hand. You're going to have to counter WWE's next deal the end of next year, and you're going to have to know that it's the same entity you're going to do business with UFC. That's the problem. And if it's Peacock, you have a bigger issue because UFC still does traditional pay-per-view. They don't do a subscription PPV PLE format. So there's so much that needs to be deciphered here, guys. But the TV deals, nobody is willing to meet Nick Khan's price. So they're going to have a big problem going forward. And if the ratings keep going backwards, it ain't gonna be any better. You ever see the movie Home Alone? Kevin McAllister wants to get off the streets. There's all these weird people and all the homeless people. And he gets into a cab. And he says, let's get out of here. And the cab driver turns around and he says, it ain't much better in here, kid. Same thing with Nick Khan and WWE right now. Because they're in a whirl of shit when it comes to these new deals. With the ratings keep going backwards, you might actually be overvalued right now. Just saying, man. And another thing too, memos have been sent out. I know there's so much information here, guys. I only had about an hour. This might have to go a little bit longer because I saw some super chats as well. I always want to make sure that I give a shout out to my super chatters. So this may go a little more than an hour, but there's so much information to give you guys. Memos have been sent out to employees and talent. Different verbatim, but basically the same verbatim. It's basically saying, don't panic. It's business as usual. When we know more, you will know more. For now, everybody relax. It's business as usual. That's not comforting. The flywheel is going to take place. You guys know that. Ari has already said we're going to follow the same strategy we took with UFC, which is the flywheel. It saved them $70 million. You know how they do that? A lot of people lost their jobs. The problem with WWE is when they knew they were going to sell, in order to look sexy, they cut their own roster off employee-wise. They made the cuts for the employees. They did the firings. They tightened up departments. They literally took one department. They merged it with another department. They got a whole new headquarters that they just moved in a month or two ago. So they sexified themselves. In the process, they trimmed off about $10-12 million, and they looked much more approachable to somebody, an entity like Endeavor. Good for them. But now the problem is, where does Endeavor go to get the rest of the $70 to $100 million they're going to try to get from WWE now? You've already released the people. Now the people that remain are pretty clutch. You kind of need them. I'll tell you where it's going to come from, guys, and this is painful to say. A lot of talent is going to get cut. Now you say, well, BC, why isn't it painful for the employees to be cut? It is, but it's even worse with the talent. You know why? Employees, most of those that worked in Stanford, most of those employees had benefits. A lot of them got severance packages. A lot of them are going to be hooked up and set up for a while. When you're a talent, you just get released. And you better hope that another indie promotion will hire you. It's hard when you're a pro wrestler, man. That's why these contracts are shitty. It only works out for WWE. It doesn't work out for the talent. You guys realize that you sign a contract, you think it's mutual, right? And everybody goes, well, that's what you get when you sign a contract. You should have known better. Guys, it's bullshit. Of course you're going to sign a contract. You are an independent contractor. You're a wrestler, and this person is signing you. What it does is it only protects Vincent Kennedy. He can release you and terminate you, snap of a finger. If you're a talent and you want to walk away for a week, you're in trouble. You have to pay that back in your time, in your financials. Something has to be done in the future. It cannot just make Vince more money or work out just for Vince. And this goes for any other company as well. But when you sign a contract, man, it only works for the company. So yeah, I feel bad for when the talents get cuts, which is coming up, because that's the only way you're going to make tens of millions of dollars on this flywheel. So when you see your favorite wrestlers or even people you've never heard from, take a moment to feel bad for them, because guess what? They're going to struggle now to put food on their table. While the rich get richer. I understand. It's ruthless business, BC. That's how business works. I get it. Trust me. I'm not saying don't do it per se. I mean, people like Mark Cuban, who owns the Dallas Mavericks, he does the opposite. He's got tens of millions, maybe a billionaire, no? Or at least close to it. Mark Cuban has a shit ton of money. You know what he does? He makes sure everybody's taken care of. During the pandemic, he did not cut anybody, release anybody, fire anybody. He made sure people had extra money. They were taken care of. Some people make it far in this world actually being a good person. I know that sounds crazy. Even in business, you don't always have to be an asshole or a jerk or ruthless. But Vincent Kennedy's the other way. That's fine, man. It's fine. But it still sucks that a lot of people are going to end up losing their jobs or their contracts going forward because the flywheel is in effect. But it's interesting that Nick Khan is just telling everybody, for now, relax. It's business as usual. When we get more word, you'll get more word. That's not what's the word I want? Yeah, that doesn't make you feel good, does it? When we know when you're getting fired, you'll know when you're getting fired. Reassuring. Thank you. Who was that? JR9. I appreciate that. It's not reassuring at all. So I think that's most of what man, if I had another hour, I would talk about, there's so much information I'd love to tell you guys, man. I know I've been probably sounding like I'm spewing a lot of shit you guys probably don't even like understand or comprehend because it's all like weird business shit and probably stuff you never wanted to know about because you just want to watch the wrestling. I get it, but this is very important stuff to know in case you don't see your favorite wrestler down the line, man. Honestly. They could absolutely cut people like Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, for instance. They're going to shed several millions of dollars. And Drew's coming up at the end of his contract, obviously. They added the time on. Well, you could say, you know what? We're going to shed 1.6 mil here. Hey, Bobby Lashley's got, what's Bobby Lashley got? 2.1 on a shed? 2.1 and 1.6. Hey, we just got almost $4 million on two superstars. That's how this works, guys, and you start to bulk that up. And if you get enough talent, you could get $30 to $40 million. Shed it off your cost. Anyway, I could talk about this another hour, but there's other things I want to go over. But, guys, this is a big day. Vince McMahon is no longer majority owner of WWE. I still can't comprehend it. I'm sure one day soon I'll think about it a little bit more and go, whoa, man, like the buck doesn't stop with Vince anymore. That's wild to think that like Stephanie and shit, you can't just come and go as you please anymore. Business-wise, creatively you can, but business-wise, man, everything just changed. That's wild. Oh man, we're over 175 on the ups. We're headed toward 200, man. That's awesome. This is on a pop-up live stream. We only had 23 minutes of notice. That's fucking awesome, man. Almost 200. I appreciate it. JR9, is that confirmed? On the NXT rating, if that's confirmed, I believe they just reached Dynamite numbers, and this is not good for Dynamite. Wow, that is no way. They hit. Did Becky Lynch and Tiffany Stratton bring in 850? Are you kidding me? Somebody get me approval on that, please. Not that I don't... I mean, JR9 is pretty on top of this stuff, so I just need a confirmation if you don't mind. Dynamite was able to score 887 because it was the all-out post show. Before that, 846. All right, we have confirmation. 850,000 viewers. NXT has now caught up to Dynamite from All Elite Wrestling. Wow! I told you guys, Tiffany and Becky was good last night. Now, I know a lot of you guys did not like that outcome. I told you I would not have given it to Becky. But the match was good. Tiffany is a draw when used correctly. Tiffany is incredible. Becky Lynch... We've seen some of these superstars go to NXT and they want that pop in the rating. They're getting it, man. Judgment Day has given them a pop. Sethington gave them a pop, well over 750. And Becky and Tiff just brought them 850? 850? Are you kidding me? I had that projected at 725 tops. No, I mean, I follow the numbers more than most. And I talked to other people that do. We had this at about a 725 last night. I am actually stunned that I'm 125,000 viewers off. And I grossly underestimated Becky Lynch and Tiffany Stratton. Because that match was bumped up throughout the night, and then it was the main event, and then there was a title change. I think a lot of people were anticipating a title change, and that tells you they actually wanted to see the title change. Wow. Wow, man, that's crazy, huh? So I'm trying to comprehend this number by NXT. JR9 Gaming says the majority of the show was filler as well. That's a very good number. Yeah, so JR9 is confirming that. JR9, did you send in the report, man? BC's got to take a look at that. JR9's NXT report, man. He reviews that extensively. after the show in the next uploaded podcast. Apparently, the rest of the show was filler. So this number was... This was setting up the Tiffany... Wow, guys, I just got thrown off track here. That is a massive number for NXT. Their biggest number... Is that the biggest in USA for their USA run, JR9? Or was a debut higher? Wow. If you guys are wondering, AEW Dynamite's new average is roughly 850 now, anywhere from 825 to about 875. They pulled in 887 last week because of the post All Out. So NXT has... now, I don't know if NXT can carry this over next week, and AEW Dynamite's been fluctuating. But for NXT to catch up to Dynamite, and that's because Dynamite started going backwards from 950. Everybody was wondering if they were going to consistently hit 1 million. Instead, they started to lose traction. They went to 900,000, and then unfortunately got even worse. They went to 850 as an average. So Dynamite has just slipped massively. And now NXT, thanks to the main roster, they have catapulted. Wow, man. I'm actually... JR9, awesome, man. I'll have to scope that for sure. That must have been in the podcast we put up just a few hours ago. Wow, 850. All right, if you guys are just tuning in, man, we just found out the NXT rating, and I'm absolutely rocked by it. I was off by 125,000. That's not usually the case. And you guys know, what did I say yesterday, guys? The Raw rating was not out, right? I was asking you guys to tell me when it comes out, and it just wasn't. When we were done being live, an hour later, the rating came out. But what did I tell you live? I said this show was worthy, even with the football. It was worthy of about a 1.3 to a 1.4 at best because the show sucked. And you guys know what Raw pulled? A 1.3 sem-odd. I nailed it because I followed the trends and the trajectories, man. I was not shocked. I said the only way that it even gets anywhere near 1.6 will be if people just zoned out because there was no more Aaron Rodgers after the first drive. 4 plays into Rodgers' offense, he gets the Achilles tear. And that would be the only reason. But no, even with a backup quarterback and the Buffalo Bills' quarterback having one of the worst performances I've ever seen in quarterback history, Josh Allen was absolute trash. People would rather watch that than see Nia Jax return or Kevin Owens take on the Judgment Day for the 8,457th time. Wow, man. So Monday Night Raw absolutely just went into the toilet Monday night. One of the worst ratings they've ever received. Probably the worst, actually, right? Probably the worst. 1.3, and this is what I told you guys. This is the start of Monday Night Football. And once this becomes a normal that fans feel there's no more FOMO, no more fear of missing out, they're going to start missing even more weeks in a row. And don't be shocked if Raw, when football is all over, is averaging 1.2 to 1.3 at best. And then everybody's going to say the same thing they said last year. Well, don't worry, because they're going to get over 2 million when football's over. You said that last year when you said they're going to get back to 2.5. They never even could get back to 2.0 if it wasn't SummerSlam and WrestleMania's go-homes. And maybe post-shows. No, their average went down to 1.6, 1.7. That's how we know this is happening. Even when football is over, so many people will have missed so many weeks. They no longer have FOMO, no fear of missing out, and Raw is going to be in the 1.2s to 1.3s without football. And when football comes back, NXT might be beating Raw. You laugh. You thought, BC, man, that's silly. Nobody, if you would have said this 2 years ago, nobody would have thought Raw would be pulling in a 1.3. Except for one unit in this community, the amplified unit, because we were all saying it. I was trying to warn the company. You're going toward 1.5, 1.4, and soon, if you don't correct it, you're going to be at 1 mil. I called this from the jump. Every one of you that have been with this channel, I called this from the jump. And you made people cry, right? Oh, BC's negative. He's so damn harsh. BC, people like that ruin wrestling. Really? Because I called everything straight out. Called it all. Called it all. And now they're at a 1.3. Biggest number in Monday Night Football history? Absolutely. 22 some odd, I believe. They beat Rodgers' Green Bay Packer game against the, I think that was the Vikings with Brett Favre. So the Packers always have something to do with this, or Aaron Rodgers. That was the original biggest scoring rating game. Vikings-Packers. Packers versus Brett Favre. And then this one just topped it. But let's not act like this was 30, 40 million people. No, this is a bigger problem than Monday Night Football. The problem is WWE Raw does not pull in a rating that tells you that fans need to watch the product. What 1.3 tells me, you guys want to know what 1.3 tells me? And all of us? They didn't even give a fuck to put their finger on the last button channel on their remote. That tells me that this company couldn't even get fans to care during commercial break to flip the fucking last channel button. Because they don't want to see Chad Gable and Gunther with Tommaso and Otis and Ludwig or Giovanni Vinci, however Samantha wants to say his fucking name. Nobody wants to see them brawl for the 9th straight week. Nobody wants to see Judgment Day take on Kevin Owens for the 8,000th week. Nobody wants to hear Cody Rhodes returns after 9 days ago he was already at Payback. What do you mean he returns? And he's just beating up Judgment Day again. Judgment Day, Judgment Day, Judgment Day. They're the only heels, it seems, on Monday Night Raw. They're involved in everything, yet ironically, I care for none of it. Nobody wants to watch it. It's not fun. It's 3 hours of putrid television. This isn't a negative review of Raw. This is me being honest. And if more people were honest, people like me and people like everybody you see in this chat, my unit, we would have better wrestling. But it's the fucking idiots that justify everything that this company does. And so they keep doing it. See? It's working. And because of that, you get the same regurgitated lackluster BS every single week. A 1.3. And there's going to be people that say it was football, boys. The highest rated game ever. Rodgers wasn't even in the game after 4 plays. First of all. Second of all, it was a 22 sem-odd. Relax, it wasn't 40 mil. Thirdly, this is a trajectory. Do you know what a trend is? They've been going backwards for the 6 years I've had this channel creatively. I called this 6 years ago. This is a bigger problem than cord cutting. This is a bigger problem than watching the highlights on YouTube the next day. This is a bigger problem than DVRing it. This is a bigger problem than Monday Night Football or a holiday. Fans don't care. A 1.3. That's the season opener. What's going to happen if you get a storyline during the season and you get these big games? Are you really going to pull a 1-2 down the line? What are you going to do? Nia Jax versus Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez in a triple threat match. She's gonna squash everybody. I wish the company cared more. Roman Reigns is fucking sitting at home with his margarita and his fucking martini again. Right? Another fucking multi-month vacation. Good for him. Again, I don't even player hate. If you can work that into your contract, salute. Fucking salute. I'm gonna fucking salute the motherfucker right now, actually. I got a fresh Dunkin' that's been staring at me the whole fucking time. Let's crack this bitch. This goes to fucking Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, man, because he got a fucking deal where he never has to show up. That's right. Look at that. They seal this shit like it's Fort fucking Knox. Here, this goes to fucking Roman Reigns. Congratulations, motherfucker. No, is that today officially he begins the milk ads, right? He's gonna be on the side of the fucking milk cartons. One side is gonna have Roman Reigns' mug, the other side is gonna have the Universal Championship, or whatever the fuck we're calling it these days. Another multi-month vacation for this son of a bitch. I doubt very much he's gonna be at Fastlane on, what is that, October 7th? Probably won't see him till Survivor Series. Or maybe he'll grace us during a SmackDown coming up, right? Just to say some words. And again, there'll be people that defend this shit. It was the right decision at WrestleMania, BC. I think it was the right decision. I think Cody needs struggle and adversity, and Roman needs to just sit at home with the title. That's all, BC. Okay. Thank goodness you gave me your wrestling opinion. We can all sleep better at night. That fucking jackass Jugenheimer just fucking gave us their stupid opinion. Like anybody gives a shit. Guy takes off after Mania. You don't even see the dude. He comes back to have 2 tag team matches. Then he goes away for 2 more fucking months. And we're gonna somehow limp. We're gonna limp to WrestleMania 40 where what? Cody goes against Roman again? After Cody goes through a fucking meticulous, meaningless, redundant, lackluster, pathetic, multi-month feud with Judgment Day. That I could not already be so bored with. More than I am right now. I would think, but somehow I'm going to be. And we're all going to go to WrestleMania 40 and we're going to limp into it. So that we can get the same fucking result we could have got in April. Anyway, what's my point in all this, right? Well, SmackDown, guys, listen to this. They lost over 600,000 viewers in 2 weeks. 2.6 a couple weeks ago. I understand John Cena was advertised for the show. So he brings in an extra 120,000. I get it. But 600,000? They got just over 2 million this past week. 2 million. They were literally about 40, 50 G's away from going into the 1.9s. Because Roman Reigns is sipping a fucking martini with the title. And you have to depend on Jonathan Cena because you have not created any new stars. Bray Wyatt is all you had. You don't want to push the LA Knights when you should have 8 months ago. Now I think we're starting the process of LA Knight. I don't know if this is going to end up well or not. But we're 8 months later, after he was being the most heavily cheered at WrestleMania, fucking months and months and months ago. Coming out of the Bray Wyatt feud at Royal Rumble, we were chanting for LA Knight. They didn't want to hear anything until we start heading into the holidays. Okay. Bray Wyatt's all you had. Who's larger than life? Roman is the other guy, and he sits at home. Drew McIntyre is in a tag team with Nail Polish Nelson. I don't know what Bobby Lashley's doing with the Street Profits. You get excited at first. Hey, this could be a cool group. And then it's clear they have no plan. They don't know if they're faces. They don't know if they're heels. They don't know their identity. Three, SmackDown pulls a 2.0. If you would have told me that collectively Raw and SmackDown would score a 3.3, a number that Raw should be pulling, there's no reason Raw should not be pulling 2.5 to 2.8 bare minimum. If you would have told me that that was going to happen, I'd have said you done fallen on your dome piece a couple, too many times as a kid. But that's where we're at. Do you guys realize that NXT just pulled within 450,000 viewers from Monday Night Raw, a show that's been around for decades? I can't comprehend these numbers as much as I'm the one who told you guys they were coming. And these numbers were inevitable if they don't change their ways. So where we are, man. Yeah, Humble 85, facts about the Lashley and Street Profits. Yeah, and you guys know how much I respect Bobby Lashley. It's a shame the booking that he's gotten and that the Hurt Business was cut too short. And that's why we were all kind of excited when we saw the Profits with Lashley. We're like, hey, maybe this could work. And then you started to see them, hear them. It's clear this company doesn't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They'll have a 6-month feud with fucking AJ Styles and the boys as fucking faces or heels, and then they'll switch it over. Somehow they'll be on Raw with Imperium as faces. This is what they'll do, this company. You don't care about these people, and that's the problem, man. There's nobody to care about. SmackDown only pops in the ratings if you do bring back a Jonathan Cena or if Roman Reigns shows up to work. And by the way, I'm down with not having your champion show up every week. I've said for you when I started this channel, that's what made Hogan special, right? He wasn't there every week. And when he was, he wouldn't necessarily wrestle. He would just cut an interview with Mean Gene Okerlund, right? Well, let me tell you something, Mean Gene. And I loved it. But this type of thing with Roman in the title, it had to end at Mania because it worked until then, and then we were all going to be fatigued by it. Had we known how limited his schedule is after Mania, it would have been a no-brainer that he had to drop the title at Mania. Everybody, I'm sure, would have said, yes, Cody's got to get it. Not even BC knew he was that limited. Do you guys realize he's only had about 9 matches in the last calendar year? 9 fucking matches. 2 or 3 title matches. It's incredible, man. It's incredible, man. And we're supposed to do this all the way to Mania, guys. That's what's exhausting. And don't take BC's word for it if you don't want to, right? I mean, I know most of you guys will. But I'm sure there's some people watching that are iffy, right? Oh, man, I don't know. I like BC, but sometimes he pisses me off. I don't know about this BC guy, right? But you still watch me. You listen because you know there's a lot of truth in what I'm saying. But you know damn well you don't want to do this all the way to Mania, bro. But you know damn well, even if you don't want to take just my word for it, just look at the audience. They're about to dip into the 1-9s. When they were playing with 2 5s and 2 6s. The audience is telling you, we want Roman to either show up or you just got nothing. The show is too boring. Guys, SmackDown lost the viewers because the show is just not good. And if you're not going to have Roman show up, the bloodline... guys, this is going to pain me to say this, guys. This is going to pain me to say it. Because it's been the best storyline in pro wrestling in a very long time. But somebody has to say this. So I'm going to say this live. And for the thousands that'll catch this when we're not live. Again, I only had 23 minutes of notice. This is called a pop-up live stream. So apologies to anybody who couldn't catch us live. But I'm going to say this right now. The Bloodline storyline. Oh, sorry, not sorry. It's got to be said. It's dead. It's done. It's done. They have nowhere to turn. They don't know what they're doing. Jimmy is going to spend the next several weeks trying to get back into the bloodline, whatever's left of it. And Jay is going to try to get the locker room on Raw to like him. And the bloodline storyline's done. They muffed up the Sammy shit. It was good through Montreal, and then they didn't know what to do with Sammy afterwards. They'd throw him into the main event at Mania to get the tag titles with Owens. That was cool. And then they're just like, that's it. Every Monday night, just have the same match with Judgment Day. Once in a while, we'll throw in Imperium. Sami Zayn doesn't even feel like a main eventer anymore. Do you realize the momentum Sami Zayn had with the Bloodline and then going into Montreal? Now think about Sami Zayn now, guys. He could miss a Monday Night Raw and you wouldn't even notice. He did miss Monday, didn't he? I think he wasn't even on Monday night. I don't even remember Sami if he was on or not. That's sad. Jay's pumping with some good momentum, but... this Monday we saw something big, right? They don't know what they're doing with they tagged him up with Kevin to take on the same fucking Judgment Day. Jimmy Uso trying to get into the bloodline. Guys, the bloodline story is done. Do you guys realize the bloodline story is done unless they think of something really creative or Roman Reigns shows up to work like now? Big Nang, 8-month membership, man. Time to push Solo to the moon, baby. Yeah, I would say, actually, let's do it. But Solo's just not ready yet. There's so many gaps in his game. He could be something big in the future, but he's got a lot of time still to go solo. I like the role that he's in, to be honest. Chat, what do you think about the bloodline, man? I mean, are you guys still... thinking this bloodline thing can work, and how? I mean, how do you get the bloodline story to reignite? Because I don't know how you're getting to WrestleMania and we're supposed to care about any of this. Yeah, and if you, Nia Jax going to the bloodline would have been much better than Nia just showing up to squash Raquel and Rhea. so that nobody knows if she's a face or a heel. WWE wanted to see if she was booed or cheered. You know what they got instead? Crickets! Because nobody cared. By the way, over 200 on the Ups Live. I appreciate that. You know what's better than 200? 250. Let's rock it. Carlos Ray, what up, brother? No, we have nothing other than the blood. That's what I'm saying, and that's why the bloodline story has to work. It has to captivate us because that's all SmackDown has. That's all WWE has. But I think, guys, the bloodline is done. They're not fun anymore. It's not exciting. The story is not captivating. I think it fell off the rails. They blinked for too long. And when they opened their eyes, that train already passed by. That sucks. I'm hoping it can be reignited. First things first, Roman has to come back. He has to come back to work. He doesn't have to wrestle. That's fine. Let's negotiate. You don't have to wrestle. You don't have to wrestle, bro. You don't have to wrestle. Just like be in the story. Just show up. You just have to jump on a plane once a week or even once every other week. I understand health issues, maybe, right? He had health issues in the past. Maybe that's something to do with it. So once every 2 weeks, send the company jet once every 2 weeks. They do it all the time. The company jet makes 3 trips a day. James Shrimp Fajitas, right, dude? I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I'm not reinventing a flywheel here. I'm not Ari for Endeavor. Oh, man. So, again, we can go an hour on this subject too, man. But the ratings for WWE tell you a big, big story. And that's why Nick Khan is not getting what he wants from these new deals. At least not yet. They're going to have to go in the other direction. I'm still floored by the NXT rating. 850,000 viewers. Tiffany Stratton and Becky Lynch just brought NXT 850, and now NXT is right there with AEW Dynamite. Dynamite was looking at Raw. Now they got to look in their fucking rear view mirror because NXT's fucking... Could you imagine if NXT defeated AEW Dynamite this week? Tony Khan better best believe he needs to pull in over 850 tonight. Wow, man. I'm floored by that number. I was off by 125. I nailed the Raw rating, though. I told you guys it was going to be a 1.3 to a 1.4. Where do I want to go with next, man? We're amplified today. I appreciate you guys being up in here, man, on 23 minutes notice. Oh, let's go to this one. All right, this is Asuka coming to the defense of Nia Jax. Now, if you guys don't know the story, I'll set it up for you. Nia Jax, I know a lot of you guys, honestly, you don't watch Raw. You just tune into BC, listen to BC, and I appreciate that. But Nia Jax, if you did miss the review of Raw yesterday, live stream, Nia Jax returned, and Nia Jax ended the show, squashing your champion. Literally, Yokozuna, banzai, squashed Rhea Ripley and Raquel. So you don't know if she's a face, a heel. It looks like they're just going to book her to squash everybody. Because get it? She's a big girl, so she can squash people. Very original, Paul. Very original. But anyway, Nia came back, and it was to a lot, guys, a lot of fan criticism. Justified, you know, because the women's division is rough right now, and you have all the talent in the world, but for some reason, they're just not booking them correctly. And then you just bring back Nia Jax to take the spotlight, the main event, squash the champion. Clearly, she's going to be going for titles. A lot of fans had legit criticism for it, but Asuka didn't like it. Asuka says the following, right? She says, now, where do I want to start with it? This might be a little out of order, so I'll just give you... somebody asked a question, thoughts on bringing Nia Jax back. Was this the right move? Like questioning Nia Jax returning. That's all that was. Questioning if Nia Jax returning is what this fan said. It's a simple question. Was this the right move? Asuka says in response, that question is rude and bullying. You're hurting her heart with this question. Are you really a person with a heart? If someone who has not been directly harmed by her denies her, I will fight the society for her. If I am criticized for it, I don't care. Now that's taking it to a dramatic level. That escalated pretty quickly, Asuka. They're just asking if this was the right move. I mean, this person can have a heart and ask, is this the right move for the company to bring back Nia Jax when the company clearly fired her for a reason? And there is a track record of how many people were injured by Nia. Nobody's saying it was by her own, that she meant to do it, right? It wasn't on purpose. There's an issue, right? There's a big problem and it needs to be addressed. So people are asking, is this the best move? Is this a person who's better than the talent they have now that are still not being booked properly? Guys, it's a question most of us were asking. I don't know why Asuka and I love Asuka. She's one of my favorites. You guys know that. I think maybe it's just too much time on the road. She's been a little wild lately with her social and whatnot. But Asuka went a little bit into left field with a hockey stick with this response. So, you're hurting her heart with this question. No, there's other things hurting her heart. I doubt it's going to be somebody asking if she should be back in WWE. And then somebody said, look what she did to your friend Kyrie. And it was the photo of one of two of Kyrie's injuries from Nia Jax. And it was when she had the gash on her head. I think that was one of the concussions as well for Kyrie. And Asuka responded to that. Wrestlers fight knowing that there is a possibility of injury. Kyrie doesn't blame anyone for her injury. She is not stupid. But just because she doesn't blame Nia, of course, you stick together. It's like baseball. You plunk the batter, next team up pitcher is going to plunk your batter. We understand. It's not ballet. What this person was saying was this is just one of many people that has been injured in the ring with Nia. So just to say that we don't blame her doesn't mean that it's not happening, right? That's what fans are trying to get through to Asuka. So then Asuka says, I broke a tooth and tore 5 tendons in my shoulder. I also suffered many other injuries, including knees and ankles. But that was no one's fault. If anything, it was my own poor defense at the time. But this is a battlefield. I am a warrior of love. Now I don't even know what she's talking about. But she's talking about a bunch of injuries. Most of those were just literally caused by her own fault, if anyone's to blame. This is different. These are people that have been injured via the wrestling move that was performed by Jax. That's why this is megally different. It's very interesting, man. It's very interesting. Sometimes you got to pick the battles. And this is one of those where, unless they're absolutely being over the top, just rude and obnoxious, right? And just saying mean things, cruel things to Nia Jax. Absolutely. You can berate those people all you want, right? Those are just fucking numbskulls. What do you guys call them? Trolls or whatever? Flick them aside. Don't even give them attention. But if they're not being rude and they're saying, hey, is this the best option right now? Why is she back when X, Y, and Z already occurred? These are legitimate questions. Or history is doomed to repeat itself and you're just going to have more injuries down the line. That's the problem here, man. You have to correct these things. These are justified questions from fans. Anyway, I just don't understand why attacking fans with their way of thinking on this particular subject, especially with Nia Jax returning. I don't see why Asuka doing that is needed, man. Pile driver, no question, man. I think Asuka's got to take the L here. There's no question that when the majority of the fan base is befuddled and not happy to see somebody back for reasons that are not storyline or in a fun way, that's a problem. That's a big problem. So, thought I'd send that by you guys as well, man. Asuka going at the fans. What is this over here, man? I got a dirt sheet report for you guys. Edge is reportedly removed from the internal roster. AEW speculation continues. I don't know about that, man. I don't even know. Knowing Tony Khan, he'll get Edge, and I mean, if you can't make CM Punk work, good luck with Edge. And I love Edge, and I know people want to see him and Christian do something in AEW. Guys, CM Punk was opening up All In. CM Punk was taking on Samoa Joe in a rematch we saw 2 weeks earlier, opening All In. This is a guy who was pissed off he didn't have the main event at WrestleMania. He was nowhere near it in AEW, and they have a whole show around CM Punk. I don't know. Tony Khan doesn't know how to book these WWE guys. He doesn't. Jericho and Mox and Bryan Danielson, they're the locker room leaders. They book themselves pretty much. So I don't know what Edge going over there is supposed to do, but we'll check it out, man. I'll tell you that much. I just don't know what you do with Edge. What do you do with Edge when he goes over to AEW, guys? Are you going to just throw him in there with Christian? We're going to rekindle Christian. I can't tell you how boring that sounds. Seriously. Anybody watch Dynamite and Collision and Rampage faithfully? Let me know, man. What do you do with Edge that's fun? Don't just give me a match either. We could sit here for an hour and book dream matches and matches, right? Because that's what Tony Khan does. He takes his fucking crayons and he takes his little fucking Post-it notes and he writes down matches all day. That's all AEW has become. What about storylines? Right? WWE isn't that far from it. Same thing. Matches. Where's the storyline? What is Edge going to do in a storyline? What do you guys got? Anybody got a good storyline with Edge in AEW or nothing? Sir Charles, TK will leave him in catering. Sign autographs, Carlos Ray. Oh, man. See what I mean? There is nothing, man. There's nothing. You're not going to do anything, man. And that's the problem. Storylines are lacking. And until we get that corrected, ain't nothing else going to happen, man. I want to go over to, man, I still can't believe NXT brought in 850. I'm so proud of Tiffany Stratton and Becky Lynch, man. When they hear that number, wow, are they going to get a standing O in their respective locker rooms, let me tell you. Because that is huge. Let me go over to this. In case you guys didn't know, I put up a bonus upload a few hours ago, and I went over the Tiffany Stratton-Becky Lynch match from last night. I tell you my thoughts on it, how I feel about it, the match, how I feel about the finish, and I go over the whole situation. It's only a 10-minute upload, so if you got time, check it out after this live stream. I put it up a few hours ago. There were some super chats, man. We only gave 23 hours of notice, but you guys rocked out, man. Hundreds of you guys live, and I know thousands of you guys will catch us afterwards. So whether you were part of the live crowd or the post-live, I appreciate you guys very much, man. Salute. And I want to start off with the WWE AEW Marvel fan who sent BC a coffee. I am really disappointed in Asuka defending Nia Jax and not her fellow coworkers. She's supposed to protect them, not go against them. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that truly just want to be and are friends with Nia, and they don't want to pick sides, and they don't want to poke somebody who has such stroke. That's The Rock's cousin. But yeah, it's not on purpose, you know. So they're stuck in a between a rock and a hard spot. I don't expect wrestlers to come out and go, wow, she is so awful to work with. She doesn't protect anybody. She is so stiff. You're going to get fucked up with her. No, you don't expect a lot of females to come out and say that. But guys, there is a list of over 10 females that have been injured with Nia. And Nia somehow says she's only injured 2. Becky is the obvious one. And then she says it was one other one she doesn't want to mention by name because she profusely apologized. Maybe that was Kari. But she injured Kari twice. And what about Bayley? And what about Ember Moon? And what about Zelina Vega? And the list goes on. I don't understand in what alternate universe are we living in. We all saw these injuries occur time after time after time after time, 10, 12 times. So we don't expect the females to come out and just start fucking throwing Nia Jax underneath the bus, nor do I think she would fit under there. But the point is, no shade, BC like thicky girls, but let's be honest, man. Nobody's going to come out and start pushing around somebody like Nia Jax. What you saw on Monday Night Raw could easily happen in the locker room. She'll sit on you! Be nuts! So, of course, nobody wants to push on somebody like Nia. So anyway, WWE, AEW, Marvel fan, yeah, I'm not going to hold Asuka to it too much, but I hope she doesn't just attack fans more on their position on Nia Jax. I hope she understands why fans are either pissed off or just not happy about Nia being back. It doesn't help the locker room, and it doesn't help the product. We already told you that for years, and when they fired her, you remember when it was our list of releases, and we all said the same thing. We never want to see somebody lose their job. But if there's anyone that was long overdue to get a release, it was Nia. We all said that, most of us, because it wasn't working. There was no connection. The injuries, that was the icing on the cake. There was just not a connection, period. You want to know something interesting? You could lose Charlie Flair tomorrow. She could quit WWE, which could happen. She doesn't need pro wrestling. She could quit tomorrow, Charlie Flair. And I'm pretty sure most wrestling fans wouldn't even notice. Sadly, because there was never a connection with the majority of the audience. If Charlie left tomorrow, we'd all say, we wish her the best in her future endeavors. Next, can we finally get good booking for Bayley? What are you doing with Becky? Is she going to stay in NXT? What's going on with her? Is Io finally going to get the booking she deserves with or without a title? Are you finally going to give Asuka a championship fucking moment or at least a WrestleMania victory? She's 0-5 at WrestleMania. Do you know who always stifles Asuka? Charlie Flair. There's certain people that literally, man, people treat them like gold, but when you think about it, how do they even have employment? WWE, AEW, Marvel fan. Good question, man. WWE, AEW, Marvel fan, I appreciate you, brother. Savage, 1024, The Punisher, 10 spot. Couple of coffees. I know this is off topic, but I know that CM Punk could have handled his situation professionally. But if, and I know it's him that's starting conflict backstage, then he had it coming. Oh, no question. He played a big role. Whether he was instigating or not, he knew the severity of the problem in the locker room, and Punk just didn't care about it anymore. And that's why I say he wanted out of AEW for a long time. He was always more suited for WWE, and now what I say is, listen, give him one last hoorah. Everybody makes a little bit of money. He has more value in WWE, let's be honest. Bring him over to Chicago. Have him and Roman go at it at Rumble. Roman goes over, but somebody interferes. You set up a Punk match for WrestleMania. He gets a big Mania match. Roman goes on to Cody or whoever. Everybody wins. And Punk can wrap up his career in WWE, and hopefully everybody can have a smile. That's the best you got. Punk already said he'll do business with WWE. Now, I'm not saying I ever need to see Punk back. Trust me. But he's not done in wrestling, and it's clear that him and AEW just cannot work together, and they didn't know what to do with Punk anyway. Him and Samoa Joe at All In. Can you believe that's the best they have for CM Punk? CM Punk playing around with Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler to take on Bullet Club Gold. No, come on, stop. I'd much rather see Punk and Roman at that point. Punk and Sethington. Punk and AJ Styles. Give me CM Punk and LA Knight on the microphone. Anything but Samoa Joe and Punk again. Or Dax Harwood sucking up to CM Punk every day. Savage. Appreciate it, brother. Sev, 5-spot coffee. BC, any chance we get dual event weekends going forward? An example, UFC Saturday night and maybe a Rumble or a Big 5 pay-per-view the next night. Absolutely, Sev. Maybe in a package deal. Sev, a lot of people thought that All In and All Out was going to be a package deal. They couldn't get the technology for Max going, HBO Max. So Tony Khan just had 2 separate pay-per-views. So you saw 174,000 buy rate for All In, and then All Out lost 100,000 buys. All Out got absolutely destroyed. So, yeah, I think if you can package that, I don't think you should run it separately because you're just going to divide your audience. You got to find a way to kind of get UFC to watch WWE and WWE to watch UFC, or at least care enough about the package. So if you can do that, you put like a $75 price tag or something, you can get a couple of events. Or you start your own subscription-based streaming service. I don't know. You charge $10, $15, $20. You get 2 events every month. Man, that would be huge, Sev. I absolutely see that. I think that's where Endeavor wants to go. The problem, again, is everything's all over the place. The ESPN UFC deal doesn't end until end of 2025. NBC Universal and WWE and Peacock and all that ends in the end of 24 with Fox as a separate deal. Everything's all over the place. So Ari and Endeavor cannot just package everything right now, not even into a separate deal with Amazon or Comcast or Fox or Disney. Everything. UFC and WWE's TV rights deals are so off kilter and off balance. That has got to be driving Ari insane right now. Sev, I appreciate it. Sam Byers with a 10 spot. Here's to the future of WWE, WWF. I think Sam Byers is just happy not to have Vincent Kennedy as majority owner anymore. Salute, Sam Byers. Hey, Jane Donnelly with a 10 spot. Couple of coffees. What up, BC and Amp Unit? It's been a hot minute. Been kept busy working and visiting my aunt in the hospital. Working at the moment, just smashing the ups and showing the love. Take care and rock out, unit. Jane Donnelly, salute, brother. All the best to your, your aunt? Kick ass at work, brother. And thanks for stopping by, smashing that up, showing the love, and rocking out. Chucking a coffee over to the channel, too. Good to see you, Jane Donnelly. Yeah, I don't think you were up in yesterday's stream, correct? So this is your first one back. Jane Donnelly, man. Look at that. I love when you guys say you're working, but you had to take a time out to show the love to the channel. That's badass. Savage 1024, the Punisher with another 10 spot. A business needs to balance. If you go one way or the other, if you go completely ruthless, more people exit. If you go completely creative, you don't get enough money. That's why there needs to be in the mid. Absolutely correct. Savage 1024. And that goes back to what I was saying, Savage, about Paul Levesque McMahon. I'm still befuddled why he was ever on the WWE board of directors. Paul Levesque McMahon does not have the business acumen that most people did in Stamford, Connecticut. There was a lot more people that should have been on WWE's board of directors. Paul Levesque McMahon was there because he was the son-in-law. He literally married in to a board of directors spot with WWE. Good for him, bro. No player hating. But when TKO took over, if you thought for 1 second Paul Levesque was going to be one of only 5 seats at the table, he doesn't deserve it. If you know business, that's not shade. Paul Levesque has no business being on the board of TKO. It's 11 spots. You're telling me Paul Levesque McMahon is one of the best business people on the planet? No, he's not. He'll be the first to tell you he's not. The guy told you he can't even book 3 hours of Raw. That was from his words. You expect him to run the whole business? Oh, man. Too funny. Exactly right, though, Savage. You know, you have to have that balance. Dave's up in here. Dave Melee with a 5 spot. Coffee over to the BC Amplified channel. Dude, Dave, what's up, dude? Always good to see Dave in here. Dave's been a subscriber at least. Well, we've only had memberships 8 months, but Dave's been around a lot longer than that. Monday was McMahon's last episode as head of WWE, and instead of going out with a bang, he went out with a flush right down the toilet. And you know what's funny? They don't give a fuck. That thumbnail that you see for this upload, this live stream, that was just yesterday. Paul Levesque McMahon and Vincent Kennedy McMahon are fucking happier than a pig in shit, smiling from ear to ear. They just cashed in on a lot of money. Vince McMahon, a $9+ billion deal that lets people like Paul Levesque get millions of dollars because of this deal. That's huge, man. Stegmeister Stegels, 2 spot. All I see is Z's from the live crowds. This past Monday was hard to watch, man. When I turned on that main event and I heard the crowd that silent for Rhea and Raquel, and if they only knew it was going to get worse, because the excitement was going to be crushed even more literally and figuratively. Nia Jax was going to show up. Jamal Strake in 2 spot. Raw was VKM in the PLM, Paul Levesque McMahon, giving us the finger once again. Yeah, they didn't give a shit. They knew they were cashing in the very next day. Jamal, appreciate it, man. Quincy Gray, 2-spot. I pity any woman who wrestles Nia Jax. If you feel bad for him, honestly, there's no question. Like it's not something you want to do. Like there's been many females who have said, like, when you see Nia's name up on it's like, oh shit, because she has these moods where if she's not feeling it, she's going, look what happened to Becky. At least she admits that. But Nia wanted out of that corner. She had 3 or 4 girls already on her, and Becky came over to deliver a wrestling punch, and she just hauled off. She just wasn't in the mood, wasn't having it. You can't do that, man. You can't just haul off on your fellow wrestler and break her nose. You can't do that. And we just seen this too many times. Quincy, no doubt, man. Derek Fleming Jr., 2-spot. Did you hear TK is on not creating stories on TV? Wow. Hold on, Derek Fleming Jr., 2-spot. Did you hear TK on not creating stories on TV? No, what do you mean? Are you still up in the chat? Derek Fleming, what do you mean he's not creating stories? He just doesn't want to? No, I don't know what. I haven't heard that, I don't think. He better. Well, you ain't going to get too far if you're just putting on wrestling matches. I assure you that, man. You have to have stories. You have to have larger-than-life characters. You have to have the whole... Everything has to be on... Pro wrestling is... It's simplistic at the core, but you have to have all of the boxes checked. Otherwise, people are going to get sick and tired of just seeing wrestler A in his tights take on wrestler B in his tights. Mr. Block Ice 22, 2-spot. Love the rock steady pick behind you. Cowabunga, LOL. Yeah, man. That was up in a couple of the gyms that I went to for a while. We had that up, so I would always bring that in, man. Everybody got a kick out of that. Yeah, he doesn't miss a day. He also takes some extracurricular activity, though, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, he's pretty amplified. He's never in a good mood either. Yeah, he's never in a good mood either. Relax. We're not talking any shit to you. Mr. Block Ice 22, salute. Good to see you up in here, Block Ice. Ron C 23, 2-spot. I had to dive in and say, what up, BC? What up, Ron C 23? How you doing, brother? Thanks for stopping by, smashing that up, dude. Big Nang, 5-spot. The letter does say TKO, but the signature is Tony Khan's organization. I now own WWE, LOL, just for laughs. He's doing the WCW. Big Nang, he got jokes. That's what happened when Shane McMahon showed up to WCW. And Vince McMahon thought he bought it, which he did in real life, but storyline-wise, Vince thought he owned WCW, and Shane McMahon shows up and he says the name does say McMahon, but it says Shane McMahon. Good shit. Yeah, so nothing on the Tony Khan story thing, right? Yeah, no, I don't. I think he's trying to do stories. They're just not fun. Sucks to say that. Oh, by the way, we hit 250 on the ups. Fuck yeah. You know what's better than 250? 275. Let's go to 300 on those ups. Fuck yeah. Guys, I said I only had an hour, and I really did, and we went over an hour and a half. So now I'm going, oh shit, I'm late. It is what it is, man. I had a ball doing this. I'm glad you guys rocked out, man, with me. I appreciate it big time. And until next time, and there will be that next time, there was probably stories that I didn't have a chance to get to. Like, for instance, JoJo. If you guys got a chance, check out JoJo's memorial message to Bray Wyatt, Windham Rotunda. Of course, that was Bray's girl. They had 2 kids together. And JoJo is one of the biggest sweethearts in the world. She's one of the prettiest girls you'll ever see. Not that that has anything to do with this, but I've always said JoJo is one of the most beautiful ladies I've ever laid eyes on. And apparently Bray Wyatt thought so too, Windham. Because he put a ring on that and was about to have a long marriage together, and it just didn't happen. But JoJo finally broke her silence, left a very, very heartfelt message, man. And oof. So, not that I was going to read it anyway, but I was going to talk a little bit more about that, but I think I'll just let you guys check that out if you have time. Much love to JoJo, much strength, prayer, amplification over to JoJo and Bray's kids, man. They're always going to be looked out, just like Luke Harper's kid. Brody's kid. Man, AEW takes such good care. Cody, you got WWE guys taking care of that kid, man. So you got to believe that Bray's kids, it's going to be the same thing, man. Same thing as Brody Lee. So that's on that front. And if there's any other subject, man, we went overtime, man. We had a lot to discuss. BC was popped up on coffee. You guys were rocking out with good convo in the chat, so we just went a little bit extra. Before I take off, I want to give a shout out over to Tony Partito with that 5-spot coffee. Tony, I see you up in the chat, brother. What up, BC? I'm on the highway. Had to pull over and say, what up? Hit the like button with the demolition finisher. Fuck yeah. Now, that's a badass finisher that you should not do while driving on the highway. So thanks for pulling over first, delivering that devastating finisher, A. B, thank you for it not being the fruit roll-up. And 3, thank you for the love and the support, brother. I appreciate that. Tony Pardita, you can get back on the highway and kick ass, man. Get to your destination. Appreciate you, bro. That's good shit, pal. Guys, I appreciate it, man. It's been one heck of a ride, man. The last hour and a half plus. You guys rocked out. I appreciate you very much, man. Everybody up in the chat, from what I see here, James Shrimp Fajitas, Humble 85, Kevin, Pile Driver, Nelly Nell, Renee G, Brad Smith, JR9 Gaming. Salute, brother. Thank you for that info on the NXT rating. I'm rocked by that number. That is awesome for Tiffany Stratton and Becky Lynch. I can't believe they pulled that number. But I should. Tiffany Stratton's the real deal, man. I try to tell people this. Jeffrey, I appreciate you too, brother. All of my amplified unit. Jeffrey, thank you, dude. Gruss512. Ty, appreciate it. Sir Charles. I can't get everybody now, man. I don't know why it's going in and out on my big screen, too. Jack Brewer, Angel Alega. We got some gold members up in here, bro. Angel and Jack Brewer. Where are you guys, man? Marie. Ron C23. I'll be here an extra hour doing the roll call. We'll do a members-only live chat soon, too, guys. This almost was one, but there was so much info that needed to be put out there that I wanted the whole unit as well. But we're going to kind of mingle it into just the members, the channel members soon. So I appreciate you guys, man. Antoine Freeman, Silver Black is up in here, gold status. DB for life, man. What up, dude? I haven't seen DB in a minute. 5-spot coffee. BC, the cream always rises to the top. Oh, yeah, dig it. The women's division is in a world of hurt with Nia back. Well, don't tell Asuka that. She does not want anybody criticizing Nia in any way. I just don't understand. It's constructive. We want the best, and we want some of these people to stop getting injured. That's all. DB for life. Do you like how I was already doing the Macho Man when I saw Cream rises to the top before you even went to the ooh yeah dig it? DB for life. Appreciate you, man. Melissa. Appreciate you. Dante Jaron 23 and Eric Leno and Alicia Vukovic and Dante Jaron 23. Man, I love those gold cards after those names. Shine those gold cards up. I love seeing that shit. And DB for life. I thought you were a gold card. What happened to DB for life, man? Well, you know what? Maybe, hey, listen, if times are tough, that matters more, man. You make sure you eating. Make sure you getting food on the table. That's all that matters. BC loves the entire unit, man. Some of you guys I just thought were gold members at time. Sometimes people have to go on and off, too. Vincent Big Nang. All right, listen, I'm already late. I'm going to be here another hour doing a roll call. BC's got to go. Until next time, and there will be that next time, BC's out. Check you. Peace. Salute. One more big salute to my unit, man. Salute. Unit, I'm out. Check you.